Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Good afternoon everybody and welcome to my presentation. I would like to thank the authority of this conference to invite me to present my papers. And my special thanks goes to the chair of the session, the coordinator and other presenters, and most importantly the audience. As you can see on the screen that I am going to present my paper on the Sayyid Nursi's thoughts on peaceful coexistence, religious coexistence and its relevance to the modern world, the Bangladesh perspective. Since we have very short time and this paper has been prepared academically, I am not going to discuss all details. Rather than, I will highlight only few issues from my paper. And this is Dr. Obaidullah, and currently I am working as Assistant Professor of Islamic Studies in a leading private universities, Manarat International University, Dhaka. It has already been discussed that Sayyid Nursi, Ustad Sayyid Nursi, rahimahullah, he has a great contribution to reform the society. And my paper is going to highlight only his thoughts on peaceful religious coexistence. So as it has been prepared academically, I am not going to discuss all these things. You can see only the statement of the problem, and this needs to be discussed. And we know the situation of the world, and in each and every society, each and every country of the world are now thinking, discussing about the peace and harmony in any particular society. Because the peace and harmony is totally absent for the few reasons. And that is why we are here today to find out some ways towards promoting peace in our society. So the papers will answer the 4 questions, and these are the questions. I am not going to discuss all these things. So hopefully I will make the conclusion within very short sentences. And this is the objectives of my study: to find out the concept of peaceful religious coexistence and the present situation, especially in our country, of religious coexistence and the Nursi's thoughts, and how we can use the Nursi's thoughts in our country. And there are, of course, certain background to study on Nursi as well as the peaceful religious coexistence. Methodology used here is the qualitative, of course. The 2 sources of the data have been used in my papers, and most importantly, the Risale-i have been studied carefully to find out the thoughts of Nursi, especially on peaceful religious coexistence and other literatures available in the library source. So here are some other particular things. I'm not going to discuss all these things. I just want to highlight the Nursi's thoughts on peaceful religious coexistence. So I have to go through. So first, here, the Nursi's thought goes to the concept of peace, and it is mentioned by many scholars as the peace theory of Sayyid Nursi. And we can see on the graph, the last one is the peace on earth. So how we can achieve the peace on this earth, it depends on few particular things. And we can see there are 2 things on the top: the worship of Allah in physical dimensions, and another one is the ethical in ethical dimensions. So from the physical dimensions, we have to understand the science of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Sayyid Nursi, Al-Ustaz Sayyid Nursi, he has emphasized a lot to discuss the science, as well as to make the relation between the science and between the nature and to the Quranic informations. So it's really need to understand the nature, the science of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whenever we understand the science of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ayatullah, then we can conquest the physical universe. On one hand is the commitment to the understanding. Whenever we understood the sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we have some commitments to those signs. So that means here is the concept and the practical things. And whenever we have the understanding, whenever we have the practical experiences, then we can achieve the taqwa. And that is the most important thing to implement, to promote the peace in our society. And the most of the significant reason have been found, have been discussed and mentioned by the scholars, that the lack of taqwa play a good role to destroy the harmony and peace in the society. So whatever it is, if we have the taqwa, if we have the fairness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have the fairness of God, that we are not involved in any harmful activities in our society, not only for ourselves, not for others in our society. So that is the most and the first theory of Sayyid Nursi on peaceful religious coexistence. Here are some other points. I am not going to discuss all those things in details, but the second theory, the second concept of Sayyid Nursi goes to the ego and self-sufficientness should be avoided to promote the peace in the society, because these two things are the most harmful to promote, to establish peace in any society. Another thought goes to the religiousness is must for harmonious coexistence. And this is not only for a particular religion, but also to any other religions, whatever we have in the world. So whatever you are belonging to any religion, if you have the religion, if you have the teachings of religion, if you have the clear understanding of your religious teachings, so of course the peace must be in our society. Another one is the existence of pure good and non-existence is pure evil. Another one is the politics. And of course, in many writings, the statements of Sayyid Nursi, it has been mentioned that he hates politics because he, according to his statement, the politics destroys the peaceful coexistence. And we have, as a Bangladeshi, we have the better experiment whenever we see the riots, the fighting each other, the killing people, it's immediately after some political events. So these things must be avoided if we really want to establish peace in our society. Another thing is the unemployed man in the unemployment, because the unemployment people are involved, a very silly issue. If you pay very few amount to them, they can do everything, whatever you want. So this is really significant. If we really want to promote, then we have to provide the job, we have to provide some tasks to the employed people in our society. And the last one, it has already been highlighted by previous speaker, the nationalism and racism divide people into many. And this is totally happening in each and every society. So what the suggestions of the Sayyid Nursi goes to overcome the situation we are facing today, and that is to act positively. And this is the must for the peaceful religious coexistence. Whatever you are doing, you have to do it positively. You have to think that either it is going to harm either yourself or any other particular people. I have to go so fast. To unite within the fold of Islam. Especially these suggestions goes to the Muslim people. And we know this is the time we are not thinking about only the peaceful religious coexistence, or I mean the inter-religious coexistence. It needs also to think about the intra-religious coexistence, because this is the most, I think, the evil issues we have been raising every day in our society, that we are fighting not only for the other religion, but also inside our religion, because of the sects of our religions, because of some ikhtilaf fil masala. So we have to fight also for that. And to adopt the just rule of conduct, to consider that union with the people of truth is a cause of divine aid and the high dignity of religion. To realize, I'm going to read only, to realize that the individual resistance of the most powerful person against the attacks, in order to preserve truth from the assaults of falsehood, to abandon the self and its egoism, give up the mistaken concept of self-pride, and this is the most another disease we have in our society. And the last one is the cause from all significant feelings aroused by rivalry. And here is the really I wanted to highlight, but due to constrained time, I'm not going to discuss all those things. You see the religious coexistence, the condition of religious coexistence in Bangladesh, as I have already done my PhD on this topic, the religious coexistence in Bangladesh, and a case study of Muslim-Hindu relationship from International Islamic University, Malaysia, I found the result and I was so surprised, because when I started to study from various literature, we found in either in the libraries or in other online sources, we found that there is no religious coexistence in our society. But as a Bangladeshi, I always observe that yes, of course, we are living peacefully and there are no problems. But academically, we can find a lot of literatures, a lot of people are arguing that we don't have the peaceful religious coexistence. So I started the study, and I had to conduct interview sessions, or that I have to collect the data from the directly respondents from various societies, and I found, and it was only based on the Muslims and the non-Muslim respondents. So I found most of the respondents, either from the Muslim or non-Muslims, they say they read about that yes, we are existing totally peacefully or harmoniously, and we are enjoying our rights equally in our society. But in the literature, you cannot find it. I have a lot of literatures in my collections, and that is arguing that we are not living together peacefully. So what is the background? What is the reason behind this literally statement and the practical statement? That was my concern. So this is because of the thought, this is because of the misunderstanding of the concept, this is because of our personal issues, this is because of the political issues, this is because of some internal interest, so that may destroy the peaceful condition of any society. So here, I'm not going to discuss any other things. So what we can see, the Al-Ustaz Sayyid Nursi, he has given some ideas and thoughts, and especially it was related to that Turkey, or in that time, but still now it is useful for our society, not only in Bangladesh but also to other countries of the world. So that if we really want to establish or to promote the peaceful religious coexistence, we can follow his thoughts, we can follow his recommendation and suggestion in our society. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, then you can ask me. And most importantly, if you are interested to read the full papers, you can contact at this email. I will send my full papers to you, then you can have a read my papers. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.